Hi again. So I'm one of the crazy ones that signed up to do my book review towards the beginning. So all of you will be professionals by the time it gets to your turn. And I chose a book that is recommended for ages 3 and up, I believe, but I think it's recommended for all ages. Pingo by Brandon Mull. And if you recognize that author, that's because he wrote Fablehaven. And the illustrator is Brandon Dorman, and he is just fantastic. So this is one of those books that you won't just like skim over after you've read it a million times. And even if your kids say, read it to me again, you'll still enjoy it. And our copy's worn out and dirty, and I still love it. Probably because I've connected it to two things in my life. So, and I'll share those with you. There's just really more than meets the eye, and again, I just think that an older reader would get more out of this, and I think that as my son has gotten older, that he's gotten more out of it. So, on a personal level, I bought this for my son because growing up, he had two imaginary friends, Rick and Gingy. And I don't know where those names came from, but he was an only child for like 7 years. So we would set places at the table for Rick and Gingy, and they would come places with us. And so when I read this, I knew that I had to get it for my son. So about the book. So a very mischievous boy named Chad had I don't know, what would you call this, a goblin? A furry goblin imaginary friend named Pingo. And he, throughout the whole book, wears these polka dotted boxer shorts and a striped scarf. I just love the illustrations. I wish I could be that creative. So for quite some time, Pingo and Chad lived an adventurous life. And I'll just show you a couple of pictures along the way. They lived an adventurous life, and this one shows them fighting off ninjas. I don't know, can you see it? It's so cute. And they would formulate potions, but it just shows them doing some fun things together and building this relationship together. And Chad grew older, and it kind of talks about some kids making fun of him, and so Chad decides that he needs to have a discussion with Pingo. And here you can see Pingo kind of like, what are you talking about? But I'm going to read this page to you. One day, Chad got fed up with the teasing and sat down with Pingo to have a talk. I'm growing up, Chad said. It's time to stop pretending that you're real. Pretending? Pingo asked. That's right, Chad said. If I stop believing in you, you'll disappear. I'm not so sure about that, Pingo said. Want to bet? Chad said. We've had some fun, but I'm done playing. Goodbye, Pingo. But wait, Pingo said. I'm still here. We'll see. Whether the playing is done. And it kind of shows Chad walking away, leaving Pingo behind. So, I have some more notes here. Instead of Pingo checking out like Chad thought that he would, Chad's imaginary friend became his imaginary enemy, or as I guess the teenage kids now say, frenemy. He led armies of pirates into Chad's room. As he was trying to sleep, he filled his backpack with syrup and peanut butter as he was trying to flirt with the girl, and he just had all of these fun tricks up his sleeve for Chad. And then with each passing year, Pingo bothered Chad less and less. And here is Pingo at the diner, and here's Chad over here. So his attention is elsewhere. So I love how it is showing Chad get older. So throughout the book, it shows Chad get older and older, and how Pingo is still a little part of his life. It shows him bothering Chad at work when he's an adult, and I started thinking about my son, and of course that he's 15 and doesn't believe in his imaginary friends, but he does talk about them, and those emotions are there, and they are with us as well. I mean, we would have to pack a bag sometimes for them, and I recall funny memories of once we were sitting in a hotel pool, and someone said to Preston, you're an only child, and he was offended. He said, well, my brother and sister are sitting right here, Rick and Genji, and the guy's like, okay. So there's just funny stories like that. So I feel like a little part of that childhood, stays with us. Well, at least those emotions do. And as an adult, Pingo still had to sneak into his life in little ways. And even as an elderly man, this is such a great picture. Pingo, he stole his dentures. So anyways. Finally, so Chad's an elderly man now, and it kind of depicts him as being a little lonely. And Chad relents and tells Pingo, okay, I want to be friends with you again. And Pingo says something along the lines of, that's all I've ever wanted to hear. And so, it's silly, I get emotional, but so Pingo was waiting to hear that, and then they went on another round of just wonderful adventures together. And so to me, it kind of brought everything full circle, and it's awesome. So the second connection, real fast, is that I visited with my grandpa today, and it's I find it kind of ironic that I'm doing this book report on Pingo, because you can read it in a certain way of maybe this elderly man's mind is starting to slip, and that he's remembering these good memories of his childhood. And either way you read it, it's wonderful. And my grandpa's mind is starting to slip a little bit, and he was reminiscing, and I connected it to this elderly man in the book. So that's kind of fun. It was kind of fun for me to make that connection. And I'm an overthinker, and I overanalyze everything, and so I do get emotional reading this book. But on the very last page, it shows the doctor, or whoever, nurse, doctor, looking in the room, and Chad and Pingo are in a blanket fort, you can see here. And I just think there's many morals to the story, and you can come up with your own morals, but one is just to hold on to the magic of childhood as long as you can, or a part of your childhood as much as you can. And in closing, something to keep in mind is there is a second Pingo about bullying, playground bullying. So I haven't read it, but I've heard about it, and maybe I should read it. So I wanted to let you know. And again, I highly recommend it. And it's fun for your whole family, even men, even your husbands and sons.